Okay, so what actually we had learned in our previous session was, yeah. So typically, we had understood the basics of iOS, right? Why actually this was necessary? Because if you are going to jailbreak the phone, right? If you are going through the penetration stage testing stages, typically, if you are knowing this basics, it will be very much helpful to understand how that vulnerabilities exist and what actually is the root cause of the vulnerabilities, right? So that is the main reason why we had understood all of those things from the basics itself. So we had understood what actually is iOS architecture, right? Typically, iOS is specific to Apple devices, right? And when it comes to iOS devices, there are like they have good amount of market capture, and because of that particular reason, the penetration testing for these applications which are installed within the iOS, right, that will be required, right? When it comes to the architecture of it, typically it will be divided into four stages. The first one is Cocoa Touch. When it comes to Cocoa Touch, this will be responsible for all the graphical user interface things which application will be taking up, like keeping the application in the background, running that application within the background, right? Using the accessibility features, getting out the push notifications, okay, giving us the functionality to interact with the application with our finger, like with our particular within the touchscreen itself, right? So all of those specific things application will be able to take when while it is interacting with this particular layer. Next one will be media layer. So typically when it comes to media layer, all the graphics, right, audio and video will be available here. So basically it will be able to make use of media layer, and it will be able to show us the videos, right? Give us the audio, and we'll be able to see all the graphics within the application itself. The next one is core services. So typically within the core services, here we will be able to go forward, and application will be able to access all the Apple functionalities, right? Like storing the files, like storing the temporary files or folders, right? Keeping all the application related data within the files application, usage of Apple payment services, right? The in-app purchases and all of those things, storing anything within the iCloud. So all of those specific things will be available in the core service. And last one will,
Sure,
yeah,
sir,
yeah, yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
So that means the database services being aligned with this core services layers.
Correct, correct. It database services is aligned with the core services. Correct.
Okay. And the OS of I mean to say iOS and
Mhm.
Mac operating system are same or they are different?
They are different. They are different.
They are different. We are
Yeah.
we are concerned particularly with the iOS mobile architecture, right?
Correct. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Please go ahead.
Yes, and last one is core OS. So basically here, application will be doing all the low level functioning like memory allocation, right? Preparing the processes within the device, getting the DNS queries, okay? Implementing the threads. So all of those specific things will be done within this particular core OS layer. Overall, these are the four main layers of iOS architecture. Now each and every layer has a separate sub layers, okay, for a specific functionality. For example, push notifications, right? So within Cocoa Touch there will be a specific sub layer for push notifications. Likewise, whenever we will be going through our next sessions, while we will be dealing with the devices and the applications, typically there you will be able to interact more with this particular layer and understand that how this functionalities overall, like applications overall interact with this particular layers as well. But for now, we will be able to understand that the architecture is divided into four layers, and these are the major parts of those specific layers itself. Now, next one is iOS device encryption. Okay, so typically what will happen is whenever the device is manufactured, there will be a specific key which is called Apple root CA public key that will be embedded to the device firmware. Okay, until and unless you are not destroying that device, that particular key will be staying with that device itself. It is hardware level, right? So we cannot modify that particular key. Now, how actually this key is used? Okay, whenever you are installing your applications, whenever you are developing the applications, right, this particular key will be used by App Store, okay, to verify whether this is a legitimate user or not, right, whether this is the device which is proper or not, right? And based on that, they will allow us to install all of those specific applications and use the applications, right? Now, whenever we are having that for Android, right, we are having that simulators like Genymotion and all of those things. There it is working because that there it is software based, right, operating system based. So there actually what happens is we can create a third party simulator and we can work with the Android operating system there, and it will properly work, right? But here for iOS it is not. There are no specific simulators as of such, right, because of this particular reason, right? Because of the key which is embedded within the within the hardware, right? And that is the main reason why we will be able to use those applications, download the applications, install the applications on the first place. Now, whenever that particular developer is developing, they will be utilizing their own signature. Okay, so basically that application will be signed, and that particular signature and our device hardware key, right, this Apple root CA key will be matched, and then basically it will verified, and then only the application will be installed. Now, all of those specific things will be stored in one place, which is called secure enclave, right? We will be discussing more on secure enclave, what actually it is. Typically, when it comes to secure enclave, right, it is nothing but a partition from hardware level, which will be utilized to store all the sensitive data, right? What are the sensitive data which our iPhone will be holding, right? Our health records if we are using Apple Health app, right? Our credit card, debit card details if we are using Apple Pay or wallet services, our browser credentials, right? Safari itself, right? We might be logging many of the applications. Those specific things will be stored in the secure enclave. um, Whenever there is any application, so application related tokens and secrets and all of those things, right? So all the data which is considered as in sensitive data will be stored within secure enclave. Now, this is nothing but a container based hardware based container system where the details will be encrypted and stored by the applications or the user. Now, whenever we want to fetch that application, for example, I am opening Facebook in my Safari browser, okay, and the password is already stored by Safari browser, right? So at that point of time, where Safari will be storing it, it will be storing it in a secure enclave itself. So how we can fetch it, and while we are authenticating, right, while we are getting the details, how we can get that particular detail? So there is one more tool in proprietary iOS system itself, which is called keychain. Many times, like you are using, you'll be having like you will be able to see that, okay, keychain, you will be able to see in the notifications that keychain is working and those kind of things. But what actually keychain will be doing? Keychain will be taking your authentication, either your touch ID or your face ID, okay, or your passcode, okay, and with the use of that, it will be able to identify that this is an authenticated user. And if you are an authenticated user, then it will decrypt, or it will take the data, which whatever sensitive data you want, it will take that data, it will decrypt it, and it will show you that particular data in plain text, okay. Your Wi-Fi passwords, okay, all of those specific things will be available within secure enclave. In keychain, what actually it will do, it will authenticate you. It will once you are authenticated user, it will take the data from that particular place, and it will decrypt it, and it will show that particular data to us, okay. So this is how all of those things will be working. So there will be the application, it will be having its own security framework. Typically what it will do, it will be using keychain, okay, to store the data within secure enclave. And basically our secure enclave will be utilizing our local authentication, our face ID, or our particular touch ID, whatever we are having, or our passcode in case if we have disabled both of these things. And then it will take up that particular credentials, and it will be able to get those credentials in a decrypted format, and the same thing will be passed itself. So this is how the security of our devices, like our iOS device, will be working. Next thing is regarding the application sandboxing. Okay, so this is much more important, and this is the main differential point from the Android OS as well. So here, what actually happens is when it comes to the iOS devices, right? Here, what will happen is it will be having a specific file system, okay, and the application sandboxing. Now, what actually is application sandboxing? Typically, the application, whenever it is installed, it will be creating the folders to go forward and store its own data, right? It might be some kind of temporary data or any kind of credential, like preferences, configurations, and all of those kind of things, right? So that particular folder, okay, will not be accessed by any other application. Okay, so that particular thing, right, that isolation is what we can call it as an application sandboxing. Okay, so whenever there is the iOS file system, it will be having something similar to this. Okay, the specific file system, the first one will be root folder, where the iOS proprietary folders will be there. For example, photos application, there will be the folder for photos application. Then mail application, right? Whatever are the iOS, like by default applications which are coming us, like coming within the like with the device, right? Two specific folders will be there. Then there will be a separate folder called apps. Now within the apps, right, all the applications which we have installed, their own folder will be there. They will be creating that folder. One of the very good thing here is the folder will not be something like the exact name of that application. For example, if it is Facebook, here the name of the folder will not be Facebook. Okay, iOS will be specifically generating a random name. Okay, a random particular number with 3264 characters. Okay, and that particular name will only be known by iOS, okay, the operating system itself. And whenever application wants to communicate, like store anything or anything, right, so basically it will reach out to our operating system, and then it will take the specific folder and it will store all those specific data there. Okay, now if we see the same thing within Android, right? So the sandboxing is not properly implemented, where in case if you are having the applications, right, they will be able to access the full file system. And typically they, like in case if there is one malicious application which is installed, it will be able to access the other things, right? What your local WhatsApp database, the keys which are stored in your device, all of those things will be accessed, right? So attacker will be able to fetch that things, right? But here, as the name will be randomized, right, the data will be isolated. So typically, even though there is some kind of malicious applications, it will be very much hard for them to not access, like to access that particular data. And even though there is any normal application which is installed, definitely they will not be able to access any folder. One of the real-time thing which you can do is, now if you have used Android devices, right, you will be able to see in your file system all the folders of other applications are already available, and you can see as a normal user itself, like Facebook data, WhatsApp files, and all of those things. If you go to your iOS files app, you will never see WhatsApp folder, okay, or Facebook folder, Instagram folder, or any of those specific folders which are installed, right? Because of this sandboxing, because we are not having access to that one. Okay,
So, sir, what is the way to identify which folder relates to WhatsApp and which folder relates to
that we
Facebook?
will
Is
see,
there
like
any?
while doing our static analysis, we will see how
Okay.
actually we can get that. But yeah, this whole thing, right, in the real time we'll be seeing in our static analysis as well, because there we'll be finding that whether the application is storing some kind of temporary files or not, and all of those things. Okay, so we will see that particular thing. But yeah, this is how the application sandboxing and the file system is available for iOS devices. Next one is MVC design. So this is same thing as Android devices as well. Model view controller, which is MVC. Model will be the place where all the data is residing, right? So basically all the specific parsers and any kind of networking commands, right? So all of those specific things will be available here. Then it will be having view layer, where we'll be able to see the GUI, and then there will be the controller where all the backend logic will be executed. So all of those specific things will be making our application execute, like properly function. Now the next thing is touch ID and face ID. So typically touch ID and face ID are nothing but the biometrics which is set up, like which is given as a functionality to us. Okay, now what actually happens is when it comes to touch ID or face ID, what actually they will be doing, right? Typically they will be able to generate an encryption keys, okay, which will be used to decrypt the data which we want from secure enclave, right, via keychain. Now what actually happens here is this touch ID and face ID, right, they are having specific specific the timings, right, when actually they will be active and when they will not be active. So for example, whenever we have set up the face ID or touch ID for the first time, right, after that, all of the time, right, it will not be using the same encryption key, right? And this is one of the best security measures which iOS devices are doing. Okay, so what actually will happen? So now whenever you might have noticed, whenever you are rebooting your device, right, for the first time your touch ID or face ID will not work, right? Why exactly? The encrypting keys, or the encrypting and decrypting keys which your touch ID or face ID was using will be deleted after reboot. Similarly, if you have not accessed your device for consecutive 48 hours, so at that point of time also, that encrypting keys, right, encryption and decryption keys will be deleted. If you are enrolling or de-enrolling some of the fingerprints, okay, then also that encrypting keys will be deleted. If you are reporting your device via Find My iPhone, right, again that particular keys will be deleted. So even though you are having the correct touch ID or your correct face ID, still it will not be working because the encryption keys which your particular biometrics was using was deleted. So at that point of time, once we are entering our manual passcode, right, so at that point of time the new keys will be generated, and then our biometrics will be used later on, right? Same thing you can, in case if you might not have noticed, right, you can just reboot your phone and you can try, right? For the first time it will not be working. You need to enter your manual passcode, and then only you will be able to use your touch ID or face ID from next time onwards, right? So basically this is how it is available. Now, next thing is iOS secure boot chain. Now, what actually happens here is typically all of these security things which we have discussed till now, right, are available on the hardware level itself, right? So basically, we'll be able to go forward and see all of those specific things, and typically they are transmitted from the hardware level to the application level, right? So typically all of those specific security features are as they are in the hardware level. There is not much more scope for us to get full admin things, right? We can get most of the privileges, but yeah, basically it will be, they will not be allowing us to modify major things within the operating system side. Next one is application signing. Now anyhow, like we are going to do this application signing within our future sessions as well, practically, because whenever we are modifying the code, right, for example, today I have seen the code of the application and I have modified some of the functionalities, right? So at that point of time what will happen is typically here there will be the signing process. Okay, let us understand from the developer's perspective. So once they are coding the full application, right, their code will be having one of the hash code. Okay, so what actually is hash code? Now they will be using their own hashing algorithm, and they will be coming up with a unique string, right, based on the hashing algorithm, and that particular unique string will be encrypted with the private key. Now that private key will be given to the developer once they are signing up for Apple development program. Okay, so they need to pay some fees, and basically they will be getting one of the specific key along with the certificate. From that they will be able to encrypt that particular full code, and the full code will be resultant in an IPA file which will be used for the installation. Okay, whenever we will be going forward and executing, right? Whenever we will be modifying that application level code, and we will be debugging the application, right? We will be modifying it, we will be preparing the new updated version. So at that point of time, the same process will be going through, will be understanding how actually we can add the key. Now definitely we are not having the developer key, so what we'll be using is we'll be using some of the fake key. Now the advantage of fake key is we do not have to pay to Apple, right, for the development, but the disadvantage is they will not be allowing it, and the device, the specific device which we have created, only that device, that particular application will be installed, right? Other In other devices they will not allow us, and we cannot submit it to the App Store and those kind of things. Okay, but yeah, this is how the application signing process is available. Now the same signing process you will be able to see in Android application as well, and the process for us to sign as well is much more similar only. So overall we had understood all of these things, and then what I had done was I had shown how actually we can do the jailbreaking. So I have shown in my device. Okay, and then we had discussed that the main agenda for today's session was to do in all of your devices. Okay, so if your device is available, the testing device, we can start the jailbreaking process of your device itself. In case if it is not available now, we can I can share you the write-up, and we can also do it in our next session, whatever is possible for you.
I'm having my one of the oldest iPhone
Mhm,
6,
mhm.
and it is having version, I think 12 version is there.
Can you
Okay,
give me the exact version?
just a minute. Mm, it is having 12.5.7.
Okay, okay, 12.5.7. Okay, so will you be able to jailbreak now, or do
We
you
can
have
do it.
some personal data? Huh?
Uh, we
Sorry.
can, okay. That means the whole data will be wiped out in
uh,
case.
yeah, it is better to wipe out the data and then do it, because after jailbreaking process, right, we will be utilizing many of the applications. So it is better, like, just to lower our risk, the phone, if it is not having your personal data, okay, your personal data will not be exposed. So that's why.
What about the contacts?
Everything, right, everything. So you can, like, first take up to some kind of backup or something like that, and you can wipe out the full phone, and then we can have the jailbreaking
Then I'll
process.
request, we can do it in our next session. I'll arrange another phone
Sure.
where I can do the hands-on in
Yeah.
much convenient.
Sure. So I have, my version was 12.4.8 itself, and we
Okay.
are having the, like, for the same exploit we are having that one. So anyhow, like, management will be sharing you the recording, right? You can try it once, and then in case if you are facing some errors or challenges, right? Then
Yes.
we will discuss in the next session. But in case if you are having some another version, like 13 version or 14 version or any other version, we will see
Okay.
during the live session itself.
All right.
Okay, sure. So there is not much to discuss for today's session, because the main agenda was this one. So let us join in our next session, and then we will go forward. First of
Sure.
all, we will take some time for the jailbreaking. It will not be a bigger process. It will get completed within 5 to 10 minutes,
Sure.
and then we will start up with our static analysis as well. Okay, so for,
Okay.
like, how we can access the files, and what all are the applications, jailbreaking applications, right, which we need to install, and then we'll be starting up with the static analysis, then we'll go with dynamic analysis, and then we'll go with reverse engineering likewise.
Fine. I'll be ready with my phone next week.
Sure.
Probably next Saturday, right?
Yes, next Saturday. Before that, just update me on the version, okay? So that in case if
Sure.
there is some another exploit, I can provide you with all the resources during the session itself, because every version will be having different methodologies, right? So that's why. So once you arrange the
Fine.
device, in case if it is some different version of iOS, right, then you can just update me prior, on Friday, anytime. Okay, so that in whatever are the resources or exploits for that one, right, I can keep it noted for you. Okay, so that we can easily jailbreak the device as well. Likewise.
Sure. Sure. One more query.
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to figure out the benefits of this course.
Mm-hmm.
So can I assume if after, I mean, completion or after learning this
Mm-hmm.
much,
Mm-hmm.
if I have any iOS with me in my possession, in my custody,
Mm-hmm.
so what all benefits I could avail in that particular situation in sort of investigation purpose? That's
Uh,
my very.
so this is regarding the penetration testing. So after this course, what will be the benefits for you will be whatever are the iOS penetration testing projects, okay? Application penetration testing, iOS application penetration testing projects. So those specific projects you will be able to complete it from starting to end, right? Till reporting, you will be able to share the report with your clients as well. Okay.
Okay. Will it also assist in any sort of investigation as well?
Here, there is no specific investigation thing because when it comes to the penetration testing projects, right, our
Mhm.
main work will be to get the applications right, validate with what all are the vulnerabilities within the applications, okay, and report those
Okay.
vulnerabilities within the applications. So that will
Reporting.
be the scope of it.
Fine.
Yeah. So you will be able
Fine.
to uh, fully complete that particular project. Investigation will not be here,
Will
right?
not
It is totally different domain itself.
Okay. And do we have other courses similar to my interest?
We are having incident response, digital forensics, and incident response, but that is specific to the systems, servers, networks, right? Mobile dumps, which will include
Mhm.
like iOS and iPad OS and Android devices, right? Database dumps. So those specific things are there, but it is covering all of those things, not specific to iOS, but all the things, right?
Okay.
Network, how to investigate the network and those things, how to investigate within the network, how to investigate within the server systems and those specific things. Likewise.
Okay. I'll be interested in, I mean, going through the course content of that syllabus as well. So
Sure,
if
sure.
I,
Actually, management will be having the updated course module with them. So what I will do is I will share you the contact of management. They will
sure.
be able to provide you with the details.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And you are Mr. Keval or
Well, yes, yes.
Keval? Okay. Fine.
Sure.
So I think I'm clear with the agenda and of this
Sure, sure,
course.
sure. So let us join in the next session and then we will be learning the next all things. Okay?
Sure. Okay then.
Yeah. Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.